This is a code walkthrough for the example file Array1DIntsClass.java. This is a rather lengthy class that we've looked at piecemeal in some accompanying lecture videos, but I think it's instructive to go back and look at this file in its totality to better understand what we've covered and what's here. So just by way of review, this was a class that's built around an integer array and all the things we can do to it. We've also got this companion instance variable count, which tells us how many actual values we have currently stored in this array. So going from top to bottom in this file, here's a bunch of constants and error messages. For example, the default size of this array is going to be 10, and these are other parameters which control various other aspects of our file. We've got a couple of error message constants defined, and these can give us a little finer grained error reporting for different specific errors we might get in setting up our class or using it. So scrolling down a little bit, here are the three constructors we set up. A default one that sets the array size to a default size, one that sets the array to a specified size, and a third one that sets the array to some input array of integers we might provide. Then we've got a couple of useful utilities to give us the maximum size of the array, the used size of the array, and whether or not there's room to add any more elements to the array. We're going to use these over and over again in the code which follows. Then we've got a couple of utilities. This one is going to check whether a provided index is valid or not. That is, whether it contains data in the array. And this other utility is going to let us prompt the user for a valid index, and this will keep reprompting the user over and over until they enter a valid index value. Going down, we've got our display methods. Our toString is simply going to print all the elements of the array in a comma-separated format. And then our formatted print will print some status about the array in general, as well as all of the indices of the array and their corresponding element values. Again, we've seen all these things in the code that we've looked at in more detail. Then we've got a couple of mutators, one which sets a value for the next available array element, and one which sets the entire array to some specified input array. Then on the accessor side, we've got this one which will return the value at a specified index or return the entire array as one full array. Then we've also got the equality method, which checks the elements of the array element by element against some other array object actually. And then we've got a couple of utility methods to prompt the user for a new piece of data to be added to the array, and one method which will set the next element to some random value, and another one which isn't completely implemented yet, which could be used to set the data from some user specified file. And then finally, we've got these two utilities which will update a specific element and increment a specific element, and internal to them they'll prompt for the index that we want to be using. And I believe that is the end of the methods for the array. So as always, at the end we've got this test code in a main method, and we're just exercising all of the methods that are provided. And what we'll do in the follow-on code walkthrough video is just quickly go through these and show what their output looks like. But for now, this is the contents of this array that we've built, and we're just kind of admiring our handiwork that we put together and looked at over multiple slides and an associated lecture video.